What's going on, guys? Happy Saturday, November 25th, 2023, Saturday post-Thanksgiving. I hope you all had an absolutely amazing holiday with all your friends, your family, your out-of-town relatives, your acquaintances, all the good stuff. And today we're going to talk Survivor Series, because today is Survivor Series 2023, the premium live event from WWE. Pretty standard this time of year. It is the Thanksgiving-ish pay-per-view. So we are going to talk predictions for each and every match on the card slated for tonight at Survivor Series from Chicago. So let's go ahead. Let's get started. I got a whole list of matches here and a whole list of what I think the outcomes may end up being. Let's start with what I have slated as match number one. I just kind of went down the list. CBS Sports always puts out the card before a pay-per-view. They update it pretty regularly, so they updated it last night after SmackDown. So we're going to start with match number one, and that is Dragon Lee versus Santos Escobar after Santos jumped Carlito last night and apparently injured him so badly that he cannot participate in tonight's match. They were just going to can the match, but Dragon Lee stepped in and wants to sub in for Carlito. And I think Santos Escobar is going to win this match. I think when you have somebody, this isn't even like a diss to Dragon Lee, but I think when you have somebody like Santos, who is pretty popular in general, even as a heel, but when you're giving somebody this push to become that next big heel, to stunt that momentum in the very first pay-per-view 2 weeks after a heel turn, just feels egregiously off-putting to me. I don't think there's a way Santos loses this match, and I think we're going to get back to seeing dirty Santos Escobar, just like we were seeing in NXT when he was essentially leading a cartel. I think we're going to start to see that. We're going to start to see that that vicious, cold-blooded mindset come back out of Santos. Let's all face it, it's the Santos that we really, really like. The LWO thing is pretty overrated. We have a lot of weird babyface factions right now, and I think Santos is good to break the bar on that one. Give me Santos Escobar over Dragon Lee. Match number two on my list, we have Gunther versus Miz for the Intercontinental Championship. Gunther coming into this match, not only the champion, but champion for over 500 plus days at this point in time. He's broken all the records. He is the longest reigning IC champion of all time. Sorry if you heard my dogs in the background, guys. I apologize for that. Give me Gunther. So look, here's the deal. I honestly don't care who wins this match. I think that this match is going to be really, really good. I think that Gunther has a really good way of elevating matches, and all of his time that he spent on the indies and wrestling in other countries has made him have this cool cadence for wrestling where he likes to bring the crowd to a high and then he kind of lets it lull out and then he brings them back to a high. He doesn't want a whole thing being just a barn-burning, screaming fest. So he's going to tell a really good story. And I think there's no other better storyteller for the most part in WWE history than The Miz. The Miz is really, really good at telling stories. I was never a Miz guy. I didn't like him during the Diva Search. I didn't like his weird punk rock phase, and I don't really like The Miz in general. Like, his celebrity is weird. I don't know. I just don't get it. It's never been my thing. It has nothing to do with his in-ring skills. He's obviously mega talented, and he's been around longer than essentially anybody on the roster at this point in time. I think that they are going to have an absolute barn burner of a match. I think Gunther is going to retain. I don't necessarily see why you drop a 500 plus day reign to a guy like Miz, who's on the older side. And while he does still show up pretty weekly, I just don't know that he can carry the belt. And who do you pair him with? Who do you face him with down the road? Gunther still is this big, like, he's the mountain when it comes to the IC title right now. I think Gunther comes in with all the momentum, but I think the fans are obviously going to be on the side of The Miz. I think he's definitely captivated the audience the last couple weeks. He's definitely turned around a lot of these weird nobody likes The Miz stigmas, and now he's all of a sudden a babyface again. I still don't think it comes out the way that he needs it to. I'm going to go Gunther over Miz to retain the Intercontinental title. On to match number 3, Rhea Ripley versus Zoe Stark for the Women's World Championship. Give me Rhea Ripley to retain. I think she has so much momentum and so much crowd favor and fetish and what else you want to call it. She is captivating audiences right now. I think taking the belt off of her from a company standpoint is absolutely ridiculous. She's going to sell you merch. She's drawing in the eyes. She's blowing it up on social media. All eyes are on mommy all the time right now. That's nothing to say necessarily bad about Zoe Stark. I think Zoe is going to be a good up-and-comer. I don't think she's ready for a major title reign. And again, in a women's division that's just kind of... They're all really athletic right now, but there's all a lot of lacklusterness too. Nia Jax and all the... I just don't know who you face Zoe Stark against if she wins the belt. Whereas, again, similar to Gunther, I think Rhea is the mountain that everybody kind of wants to climb right now, literally and figuratively. I think she holds the standard of being a tough, badass, and attractive world champion. I think she's going to retain this belt over Zoe. It'll bump Zoe, I think, for a minute. I don't know that she should have been who won the number 1 contender spot anyway, but I think Rhea is going to retain this one way or another and give the Judgment Day momentum heading into later in the Premium Live event. On to match number 4. Now, mind you, there are only 5 scheduled matches on this card, so I'm interested. It's obviously only still like a 2-hour pay-per-view. It starts at, or 3-hour pay-per-view. It starts at 6 my time, ends at 9 my time. I'm in Mountain Time. So I'm interested in how they're going to do the match flow. Obviously, I think there's 2 War Games matches. One is going to start the night. One is going to end the night. They're not going to do both of them back to back. So I think you're going to get possibly I want to say they'll do the men's first, but I think the men's with Randy Orton's return is going to have to go later. So I think you're going to start off with the women's War Game match. Excuse me, sorry, kind of fighting off a head cold here, so breathing is not my strong suit in the moment. But let's get into match number 4, which is the women's War Games match, which will feature Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, Shotzi, and Becky Lynch on one team, and the other team is Damage Control featuring Asuka, Bayley, Kairi Sane, and Io Sky. I'm gonna take the babyface team. I feel like there's gonna be some stuff happening in there, and this could absolutely be an incorrect call, as there's a lot of momentum on Damage Control's side, but there's also a lot of looking like Bayley possibly gets kicked out of her own faction happening in the Damage Control locker right now. I also think I've heard kind of rumblings. I think if there's going to be a return on the women's side tonight, you may get Sasha Banks back tonight, as you would have all 4 horsewomen in the ring in essentially the same time. The only way to do that, though, is to find a way to bump Shotzi from the match, which I'm not for or against. I just have struggles with Shotzi. Shotzi is a good persona, but she also is not. Like, her mic skills aren't all that good. She's not as physical in the ring as a lot of the other women in this match. I think she's the only person that you bump out of this match to try to sub in some sort of return. And if there's going to be a women's return tonight, I think it would be Sasha Banks. I have seen it on the rumor pages and on the dirt sheets. I do not know whether or not to believe it, and I don't know where she is in her rehab, because I know she also had some ACL, MCL injury while on the indies. So I don't know where she's at, and I also don't know where she's at contractually with other companies. But if there's going to be a women's return tonight, it is going to be Sasha Banks as they head forward towards the Royal Rumble season. I think that could be a very interesting twist to this match, but I think overall the baby faces are going to win this match. The question is, can Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair stay on the same page? And if they don't, that will be what ends that match. And if they do, there's a chance we get a heel turn out of Becky Lynch, I think, after the match. I don't think that they'll heel turn Charlotte this time. I think that Becky's going to be kind of the heel turn on this one. I, again, could be wrong. But give me the baby faces over Damage Control. And then let's go to match number 5, which is the men's War Games match, which will feature Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, Seth Rollins, and a returning Apex Predator Randy Orton to face the Judgment Day, comprised of Dominic Mysterio, Damian Priest, JD McDonough, Finn Balor, and somehow, some way, a non-member, Drew McIntyre. Give me the Judgment Day. I actually think the Judgment Day is going to absolutely win this match. I think they have a ton of momentum. I think that they're kind of... While they have their weird little inside scrums between, especially Priest and McDonough and all this stuff, I don't know that McIntyre is going to allow this team to lose. I also am going to try to call it early and say that I think we get a Randy Orton heel turn by the end of this pay-per-view. I think he's going to come in hot and as a babyface, and I think he is going to drop Jey Uso at some point throughout this match and then have to deal with Cody Rhodes and their legacy together, not trusting each other again. And you run towards a program that features Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton at the Royal Rumble, I think is kind of the route that you go this way. It's the only big thing I can see coming out of this match, because there's no way you just get a clean cut match out of this. There's no way we get a big return like Randy Orton and something does not go down throughout this match to fold one of the teams up. Drew could cause trouble in the Judgment Day camp, or Damian could, but I don't think that those are going to be the case. I think Randy is going to come in as the expected babyface, who's going to then heel turn and strike Jey Uso. You saw the look in Jey's eyes when he heard that it was the Apex Predator. I think that blows up in his face, and I think Randy heel turns and costs the baby faces the win, and Judgment Day is going to win the men's War Games match. Now, let's address the Pepsi tattoo in the room. Okay. It is Chicago at the Allstate Arena. And there is going to be this thing happening from the second the pay-per-view starts to the second the pay-per-view ends. And it is going to be a chant. And the chant is going to be CM Punk. Let's clear the air. I don't know that he returns, and I think that there has been so much media clout about a CM Punk return. I don't know where you return him in this pay-per-view. Like, do you really just throw him in it, that they raise the cage and then all of a sudden CM Punk's music hits? Do you have him open the show? Is that you're gonna lose the crowd that fat? Like, they're gonna burn out. I struggle to think about, because I thought Nakamura was supposed to have a match, but he's not on the card. He's nowhere listed on the card, so maybe we get a surprise match for Nakamura and Punk. But I just don't. I haven't seen any evidence, mostly because online is so willing to throw out bullcrap pictures and statements to suggest that CM Punk is going to return. I don't know that he does, but here's the deal, right? As WWE fans, why should we want him to? Okay, sure, he's a draw. He sells t-shirts, the music is good, all this stuff. But he's a draw temporarily. It's never going to be long-term. Look at AEW. Look at the absolute hype behind them finally breaking CM Punk to get him back into professional wrestling. And it took him no time to go back to being Phil Brooks. I need it my way. He's Hulk Hogan in the 90s, guys. He's creative control Phil Brooks. He needs everything to go his way. Whether or not you guys all want to own that or not is on you. But look at this outstanding evidence about him not being a genuinely good person, let alone a bad entertainer. Okay? If he shows up, the crowd is going to go nuts. They're going to riot in Chicago. It's going to be a huge deal. But it's going to be a huge deal until he decides that it's not working the way that he wants it to work. Okay? Sure, Vince McMahon is not going to be directly in charge of creative control. However, I am sure that Vince McMahon is going to be in Gorilla tonight, for all of this. I just can't imagine a world right now where CM Punk comes back and it's like just this great thing for a prolonged amount of time, okay? If he comes back tonight, there will be a pop. It's going to be amazing. The crowd is going to go nuts. It's going to absolutely blow that place up. If he doesn't show up tonight with all the media hype, and he ends up being, I don't know, the guy behind the devil mask over in AEW, that crowd in Chicago is still going to riot. Because from start to finish, they do it during Raws. From start to finish, you're going to hear CM Punk, CM Punk, CM Punk. They're going to do it for 3 straight hours. Honestly, we all better kind of hope he shows up, because I don't know what that crowd does if he never shows up during this pay-per-view. But my personal take, this is again personal opinion, is that I don't think CM Punk belongs in WWE. I don't know that he belongs in AEW. I obviously don't think that he can behave on either brand. I don't know that he belongs in professional wrestling. He can draw all he wants. You can sell tickets. But if you're going to continuously be a clown to the people you work with and the people who sign your paychecks, and then you're going to run home with your ball every single time that things don't go exactly your way, then you should just not be doing it. Just get out. Just my take. I don't know that CM Punk comes back tonight. I think that the fallout either direction is going to be a very interesting thing to see. That's my take on that. As Steve Austin would say, that's all I got to say about that. All right, guys, those are my predictions. I'll just run through them real quick one more time. I'm going to go Santos Escobar over Dragon Lee, Gunther over The Miz to retain the Intercontinental title, Rhea Ripley over Zoe Stark to retain the Women's World Championship, the babyface team of Belair, Charlotte Flair, Shotzi, and Lynch over Damage Control, and the Judgment Day over Team Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, Seth Rollins, and a returning Apex Predator Randy Orton, with the potential of a Punk return at some point throughout the evening, and possibly also a Sasha Banks return during Women's War Games. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. I'm sure that if you guys actually follow along on the Introverse Uncharted page here on YouTube, you'll see that I have kind of nixed out I had an Uncharted Wrestling and an Uncharted Football area, and as the brand new intro that I worked on for a little while ended up as the brand new intro at the start of this video shows, I've rebranded the sports-ish area of what I do here on Introverse Uncharted to be Uncharted Sports and Entertainment. So now you can find all wrestling and all football and all other sports-related videos in the playlist Uncharted Sports and Entertainment. If you guys haven't had a chance to yet, please follow me on all other social medias, on TikTok at Introverse_Uncharted, on Instagram at Introverse_Uncharted13, on Twitter or X at Introverse_U, and on Facebook just Introverse Uncharted. You can find the page and follow it on Facebook. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in, and remember to do more than simply exist and come with me to WWE Survivor Series. I'll see you guys later.